Plastics, it's everywhere. I therefore felt compelled to start introducing this topic into my science classroom. If you are teaching biology, or earth science, or chemistry, or maybe even AP biology or AP chemistry, these 20 slides might be something that you wish to use in your science classroom. Stay tuned until the end of this video when I will explain how you can retrieve these resources. How best to introduce this topic of plastics? Check out the following image. I found it on a blog site. It shows you several pictures coming from the south of Spain. Of note is the layer of microplastics embedded in this sedimentary rock. It causes one to wonder, what does the term anthropocene mean? Is there such a thing as the Plastocene? The interactive Pear Deck slide enables students to write their responses. Each student slide follows by a key slide. So the proposed definition of anthropocene and the proposed definition of this mock word Plastocene is shown right here. Clearly, humans have had an effect on our planet Earth. So besides anthropogenic climate change, we've also influenced our planet through the dumping of our plastics. But how should we define what microplastics are? Again, a Pear Deck interactive slide allows students here to draw. I found a great definition taken from this source. Microplastics are tiny, 1 micrometer up to 5 millimeter in size. They are not soluble in water. What's the next question that comes into mind? Do you think microplastics can be found in both marine and terrestrial ecosystems? Scientists have been able to use fluorescent microscopy to detect microplastics, as you can see inside this zooplankton in the ocean and insect on land. There are 2 key classes of chemicals. One of them is the BPAs, Bisphenol A, and the second set of chemicals are the phthalates. Depending on the amount of BPA and BPA analogs and/or phthalates used in plastics, it makes the end product either softer or harder. Consider the soft plastic bag compared to the harder water bottle. You've probably noticed the numbers on the bottom of many of the plastic items that range from numbers 1 through 7 that specify the types of plastics inside them. What is it about these chemicals inside microplastics? Take a look. Imagine that the purple dots reflect the actual BPA and/or phthalates. The orange blob is the main structure of the plastic, but the smaller BPA chemicals are able to leach out and wreak havoc. But how do we know that they're indeed hazardous? Well, scientists had to use some model organisms to study their effect. 2 key model organisms, because we can see their cells so easily, they include the zebrafish embryo and the water flea. If we're just focusing on the BPA, what are its possible hazardous effects on the body? This image here suggests it's a whole bunch. From the immune system to the excretory system, to the digestive system, to the reproductive system, to the circulatory system, clearly BPA affects many different systems. Why so many systems? BPA and its analogs, located inside plastics, are endocrine-disrupting chemicals. The endocrine system includes many different glands that are capable of producing hormones, including the thyroid gland, the thymus, the adrenal gland, the pancreas, and in women, the ovaries.
But why are BPA and its analogs considered endocrine disrupting chemicals? Let's take a closer look at their structure. On the left is bisphenol A, on the right is estradiol, which is the main estrogen released in women. If we take a closer look at the structure, students should be able to recognize that both molecules have 1, 2 hydroxyl groups, 2 in BPA and 2 hydroxyl groups in estradiol. What students should also be able to recognize is that both molecules, BPA and estradiol, have these ring-like structures. This is called a benzene ring. The actual hydroxyl groups are highlighted here. which enables these two molecules to do hydrogen bonding with their potential receptor.
The key question for students to now answer is the following. Can they explain the concept form follows function? Form referring to the shape of the estradiol hormone, which has a similar shape to BPA in plastics, and the fact that the shape of estradiol determines its function. Drawn here is the lipid bilayer representing the plasma membrane that surrounds each cell. Next, being drawn is the double lipid bilayer of the nucleus. Inside the nucleus is our double-stranded DNA. And highlighted in the double-stranded DNA is an estrogen receptor element. What must that ERE bind? Estrogen molecules are able to cross the lipid bilayer because they are relatively nonpolar because of those aromatic rings. Estrogen, estradiol, will bind to the estrogen receptor. And upon ligand and receptor binding, the entire complex now travels into the nucleus and binds to the estrogen receptor element.
What's emphasized in this particular slide is that form follows function. The estrogen molecule, similar to BPA, is able to bind the estrogen receptor. According to the induced fit model, the entire complex can then travel into the nucleus and bind to the estrogen receptor element. So upon binding of this complex to the ERE, it will affect the transcription of genes involved in the reproductive system, involved in bone density, involved in cholesterol metabolism, and more. If we want to take this to the next step, this peer-reviewed study actually shows you the molecular mechanism. So in summary, BPA in plastic, Bisphenol A, are endocrine-disrupting chemicals that are able to alter the homeostasis of our endocrine system. How do they do that? BPA is capable of binding to estrogen receptors. These are nuclear receptors that affect the transcription of genes involved in many different things, including metabolism, development, and reproduction.
For more resources, check out a couple of these peer-reviewed studies. I have lots of science resources ready for you to use in your classrooms. Check on the link in the description below. It'll take you to my landing page. In exchange for your email, you will be able to obtain Astrid's free science resources. To get the 20 slides that I just shared with you in this video, click on the peer-reviewed Science in the News. That will take you to the Microplastics Google Slides for your students. I hope this video has convinced you to introduce the topic of plastics into your classroom and connect it to various science concepts, including the concepts of homeostasis, the various systems that help manage our bodies, and including the induced fit model. Thank you very much for watching. Bedankt voor het kijken and see you in the next video.